Hello, today I'm going to show you how to balance chemical equations. So before you get started, the first thing you need to do is that you need to identify the number of elements you have on both sides. So right here, the calcium, there's no subscript, so it's just by itself, so you just got one. This chlorine has a subscript of 2, so you got 2 chlorines. Over here, you got Na3. The 3 here denotes 3, so you got 3 NAs. Over here you got phosphorus and oxygen. Phosphorus has no subscript, so it's just 1 by itself. And oxygen has 4 subscripts, so that means that it has 4 oxygens, okay? Just a side note, whenever an element has only capitalized letters, it's all by itself. However, if there's a lowercase letter next to it, then that means that that is all together. So this Na is a capitalized N, it's lowercase a, so it's together. If there's any time that there's another capitalized letter, that means it's a totally different element entirely. So these are two separate elements. Over here, we have Ca3, so we're going to put the number 3 there for calcium. In here, we got phosphorus and oxygen. Normally, that will be 1 for the phosphorus and 4 for the oxygen. But because there is a subscript of 2, and the subscript of 2 contains the PO4 in parentheses, everything here is going to get doubled. So instead of 1 phosphorus, you got 2. And instead of 4 oxygen, you actually have 8. And then last but not least, right here, you have NaCl. So you got 1 Na here, and you got 1 Cl there. Okay, so that's how you write out the number of elements for each side. Secondly, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to try to balance the compounds first. So we're going to balance the compounds first. For this one, all of them are actually compounds, so you should probably pick the one that is the most complicated looking. From the ones that I'm seeing here, I would probably say this one looks the hardest one because you got parentheses, you got Ca3, and you got 3 different elements. Everything else doesn't have any parentheses, so we're probably going to focus on this one first. Okay. And just a side note, if it helps you, this side here is products. Everything to the left of the arrow here is reactants. What you're trying to do is you're trying to balance out the number of elements on the reactant sides with the number of elements on the product side. So if it helps you, instead of thinking of this as a right arrow, you could think of it like an equal sign, and you're trying to have equal numbers on both the reactant sides with the product side. So they gotta be the same. Okay, so we're gonna get started with that. And we are going to start off with this one here, okay? So I'm going to pick a slightly different color to do that. Let's pick green. Alright, so we get started. So right here we got 3 calcium. So since you have 3 calcium here, that means you want to have equal numbers of calcium on this side. So the only number you can put here for the coefficient is going to be the number 3. In order to get 3 calcium, you're going to put 3 right there. So because you put the 3, everything here gets multiplied by 3, so this coefficient affects everything here. Okay, everything up to the plus side. Okay, so you got 3 times 1, that'll get you 3. 3 times 2, that'll get you 6. So you got 3 calcium and 6 chlorines now. The next one, we were going to go to the phosphorus. You have 2 phosphorus on the product side. You have only 1 phosphorus on the reactant side. So you got to put a coefficient here so that you have equal numbers on both sides, and that number is going to have to be the number 2. So everything here effectively gets doubled. So instead of 3 NAs, you now have 6. Instead of 1 phosphorus, you got 2. And instead of 4 oxygens, you now have 8. Okay? So what you did now is that you balance the calciums on both sides, you balance the phosphorus on both sides, you balance the oxygens on both sides. Last but not least, you need to balance out the sodiums and the chlorines. So over here, you got 6 chlorines here. Over here, you got 6 NAs here. So you need to have 6 on this side as well. So you're going to have to put the coefficient of the number 6. So 6 times 1 will get you 6 for both of these. So you got 6 NAs and 6 CLs, okay? And now you got everything balanced on both sides. And this is the reason why you started off with compounds first, then the diatomic molecules, because if we started balancing out the Na and the Cl first, you would have had a situation where you'd have had 3 Na here and then 3 Na there, And then you'd have to backtrack a bit and do some more stuff, so that would have been a lot more complicated had you start with the easier stuff. Okay? Alright.